if your child cries whenever they get near or into the crib? Well, we want to first look at why this is happening. Why are they getting upset when they get near or into the crib? And the reason that they're getting upset is that they have a negative association with the space. For whatever reason, it could be that they've never been in there before. It could be that they were in there and they fell and they hurt their head. It could be that you've maybe tried some cry it out and they just don't think of it very favorably. So some children are just going to be upset as they are getting near or into the crib. Now, obviously, your child is going to have a harder time sleeping somewhere that they have a negative association with. I have a very positive association with my bed. And so that makes getting in very easy for me to do. And I'm very happy to do it. This is what we want for our children. We want them to be happy to get to bed. So we can create a positive space that is going to be easier for them to do. Now, by just switching this negativity around does not mean that your child is going to suddenly then just fall asleep independently and sleep for 12 hours. They may do, but the chance of that happening is actually very slim. But it just makes things easier. It may be that if your child has a more positive association with their sleep space, that they are actually going to be able to wake there during the night and not instantly freak out. They may then be able to get themselves back down to sleep. So the way that we can turn this around, this negative association that your child has with their sleep space, is with play. That's the best thing to do. And so during the day, every single day, and if you're just getting started with this, you'll want to do this more than once a day. But every single day, you're going to want to have playtime in the crib. Start small with just a minute or two, and then we can increase as your child gets more used to this. Now, if your child really you can't get anywhere near it, literally trying to get near it is going to be a first step, and making it super positive. That means you are going to be staying with your child for the entire time. You're going to be playing with them, and then you're going to get them out when they're having the time of their life. When they're having a great time, you are going to get them out. You're not going to wait until they're done. When they're having a great time, that's when you get them out, because that's going to make getting back in the next time much easier to do, because they're thinking more positively of being in the space. Does that make sense? So start small, maybe just a minute or two is enough to be either near the crib or in the crib. And you are staying right there and you are playing with your child and getting them out when they're having a great time. Doing this as you can 2-3 times a day, because it's so short, it should be fairly easy to do. And then as they get more used to this, so as the days go on, you should then be able to increase the duration, because they're seeing there is nothing then for them to be afraid of. They don't need to be getting upset. They're actually having a great time. So you can then work on increasing the duration that they're in there. Start working up really small. Don't go too much. Just maybe an extra 30 seconds or a minute. You know your child. You know how far you think that you can do it. We don't want to push to a limit. We still want to continue to get them out when they're having a great time, and continue to increase the time that they're in there, that they are in the crib. What you can then do is they then being a little bit more independent and they're actually quite comfortable with the space. Remember, you've been right there. You can move away from the crib. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be leaving the room, but you can move away, and you could maybe go get another toy from across the room, put some laundry away. Continue talking with your child is going to be really important that you do, or singing, and coming back when you need to. And again, trying to get your child out when they're having a great time. Now, if they are getting upset, don't be trying to, I can't get you out because you're upset. Of course, if your child is upset, get them out. But we want to try and be getting them out when they're having that great time. Work on increasing the duration that you are away from the crib and that they are in there. You can then try, when they're really comfortable with this, and this may be a few weeks, but you can then try leaving the room and coming back in. Leaving the door open, just going out of sight and talking the entire time that you are gone, and then coming straight back in. Playing with your child a bit, putting some laundry away, coming back, playing with your child, maybe going and getting some laundry, coming back in. And so they're getting really comfortable with the space When they're comfortable awake there, they're going to have an easier time sleeping there, which means your beginning of the night can be much easier. It can be transferring into the crib, either when they're awake or when they're asleep, can be much easier to do. And then night wake ups can be really different. Your child is not just thinking so negatively about the space that they may then be able to wake up, hang out for a little bit, and then get themselves back to sleep. Now, you've probably heard from somewhere that the crib should just be for sleep. We shouldn't be using this for anything else, just sleep, because I don't want my child thinking at bedtime that it's playtime. Well, I don't think that this is great advice, simply because if your child can comfortably get into their bed at the beginning part of the night, hang out, maybe roll around, play with a stuffed animal for 10, 15 minutes, and then fall asleep, is that a problem? No. If they wake up during the night and they've got their stuffed animal, their lovey, their blanket, whatever that is, and they roll around and they hang out for even 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but then get themselves back down to sleep, is that a problem? No, I won't think that. I really don't think that that is a problem. Compared to what it could be, not a problem at all. So if your child is happy to be in their bed, they're more likely to be able to get themselves to sleep and then back to sleep. They are not thinking negatively, get me the heck out of here. And that can completely change the way that they sleep. We want your child to feel the same way that you do when you get into bed in the morning and at night. You know, when you get into bed and you're just like, finally. And how awesome that is. We want your child to feel that exact same way. And if they are getting upset when they're there, that's obviously not happening. Going to have a real hard time sleeping there. So let's change that around with that play. So quick recap. Make the space a real positive space. So lots of playtime in the crib, starting incredibly small, smaller than you think that you should. It could be just 30 seconds that your child is going to be in there, and then that you're getting them out. The initial stage, you are building trust that this is okay. So start really small. Once you've built the trust, you can work on increasing that and increase the time that they are in the crib, and then increase a little bit of space as they get comfortable with this. You'll be moving away, coming back, leaving the room, coming back, leaving the room, spending a little bit of time out of the room and coming back. It's going to take you a couple of weeks to get to that point at least, but it can completely change the way that your child feels about sleep. So it is worth putting their effort and energy into this. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions to this. It is great to see you. I will see you next week in another mini master.